Welcome back to the Within podcast. This is your host, Nicky Wallace, with Heidi Buttolph and our special guest, Heidi Valdez, today. Heidi is the owner of Mindful Counseling Des Moines, and she has been a supporter of us for the Potential Within. We look forward to having her back again at this event here in June. But Heidi, I should designate which Heidi I'm talking to.
I know.
Heidi Valdez. I'll kick it over to you if you just want to introduce yourself and can tell us a little about your journey and how you got here.
Sure. I'm Heidi Valdez. I have my own very tiny little counseling practice that I do here in West Des Moines. I've been doing that for about 8 years. Prior to that, I was a school social worker in Des Moines Public.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that for about 16 years. And that time period where I was there, probably the last 5 years in there, or maybe 6 years, I started to have my own health crisis, mental health crisis, probably a little bit, stress response. That was really causing me a lot of stomach issues, headache kind of stuff. And then one of our breaks for summer, I think that's when it really all just was at its worst. I was struggling with anxiety all that summer. I think the best thing I could do during that summer that helped me was go for daily walks. Sometimes I would walk for like an hour, 2 hours. And then I would get home and I'd feel like, okay, yeah, I can go about my day. And on my walk, I kept passing an acupuncture spot. So by the end of the summer, I went there and went for like 4 days or 4 weeks straight, and that helped calm my nervous system. So through that experience, I learned so much about the nervous system and the stress response, chronic stress and what that does to your gut, but also the connection between a healthy gut and a healthy brain, healthy mind. I learned so many ways. It's just fascinating. I found a functional nurse practitioner who helped me discover what was going on in my gut and ways to clean it up. And we spent, which did require antibiotics, which was fine because it was so bad. It tells you how bad it was. Right. And had to change my diet, really clean that up, and learn some stress management skills and things to support my nervous system and my healing. That was a good probably 9 months of putting all of that together. And then I went back for testing on my gut, and it was in much better shape. And my anxiety was better because I was still doing acupuncture and I was still doing kind of the tools that I had learned along the way. And was still trying to maintain a healthy diet. Now, I would say like I learned 80% is good. Like we're not perfect. I got to have fun. I got to experience and we're going to go on vacation. We're going to go do things. And so it doesn't have to be perfect, but healthier and crowding out the bad with the good and trying to feed my gut in a healthy way as much as possible. So, that sort of led me then to decide, okay, maybe I need a different job. Maybe I need to try something different. And so I did, and I had some friends that really were good mentors in leaving and starting their own counseling practice. I'm very thankful for them. I would never have known where to start or how to do this, but took that leap, which was not easy. But I knew in my heart and my gut that, my heart was pounding. I was shaking, and I was sitting there at my desk, and one of my colleagues walked by. She's like, "You're doing it, aren't you?" And I said, "I can't." She said, "Yes, you can." So I went and pushed the button, but that's okay. And I'm here, still here 8 years later. I can't even believe it. But I think all of that helped inform how I work with people and how we approach health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. spiritual health too. So
Yeah.
I really see it. I didn't see it at the time as, wow, this is really going to be a good thing, but it ended up being a good thing. So yeah. So now I'm here.
I know. I love that. I forget how our paths are very like our stories are very similar, from kind of like a chronic stress workplace, and then, having all the gut dysfunction and kind of digging in right there. Because I always say it became out of self-defense. Like I had to figure out what was going on. So do you think it's the acupuncture that kind of started to help, like, put that gut-brain connection? Or we haven't really had anybody on here that's about that connection. So
I think on my walks I kept going by. There were 2 different acupuncture spots I kept walking by, and it was calling me for some reason, and I was like, okay, just make the phone call, just call. And I do think that it helped my nervous system calm enough so that then I could kind of like process through and think with my thinking brain, like, where do I go next? What do I do next? And then that's how life works. Like, my stepmom was working with a functional nurse practitioner, so I went to her, and it was just like things just started to kind of fall in place for me to figure out what was happening and then how to make a plan to get healthier and change some things. So I think the chronic stress is something that is so overlooked. We did a podcast on this a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think it's been released yet. But I get, as we've been planning the potential within and kind of topics we're going to talk about, that's like that stress part. I'm like, that needs to be a big, because I think that's the one thing that we all kind of compartmentalize and then set to the side, is like, oh, it's all right, I'm stressed. And it's like, no, your body doesn't understand. At some point you get so stressed it doesn't know the difference between an email or if you're getting chased by a bear, right? So it's like that survival. 100%.
So it's like having the awareness to unravel some of that, but it's hard to know where to start, I think, because there's just not a lot of conversation around that.
Right. Well, and a lot of times it starts with the physical.
Yeah, it's a hormone. Yeah. I mean, cortisol with your stress. If that one's not balanced, it's hard to balance your insulin and then balance your female hormones. So starting with cortisol and your stress is key. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And the scary thing about cortisol is if you do blood tests, a lot of times if you are chronically stressed, like that kind of becomes your baseline. Because that's one thing that was going on with me, is, I would do this blood work and all that, oh, you're not, you look fine. But then it was like all these inflammation markers on me were so just off the charts, like numbers that were supposed to be, 4 were 50 and all these. And so it's like you kind of have to back into it. But the cortisol is a tricky one. So what were you going to say?
Definitely. Sometimes people don't even realize how stressed they are too, until your body starts to tell you or things start to happen. And it's like, okay, what's going on? I've got allergies. I've got stomach issues. I'm taking, things to stop the acid, all these separate things. But when somebody then can kind of look at you as a whole and say, okay, now this is pointing to, let's do some testing and figure out what the source of it is. And the source really probably did come down to stress and how I was managing stress or mismanaging or just doing the best that I knew how to do.
Surviving.
We don't know. There's no, we know more now, but yes, a lot of it is just surviving and then figuring out, I don't feel my best, and I didn't even realize how I'd gotten to this point, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it just becomes your lifestyle.
Yeah, and we also just keep it moving, right? It's like we just know how to keep it moving, and I got this to do, I've got this to do, I got to get going on here, and to keep that is just kind of, sometimes that's a survival tactic too, we just got to get going and keep it moving. So
going through the motions, I call it.
Yeah, right.
Just going through the motions.
Not
necessarily living, just
and then,
going through the motions.
Yeah, right. And then I realized too, I think there's just for myself, like a lot of learning about how I handle stress and how I approach things has really informed how I work with people too, because we're all different. There are some people out there that stress, they just let it roll off their shoulders, and I'm like, I wish I could do that. I'm just not that person. But we're so different. And even people that do that have stress that probably needs to be addressed too, but they just have a different way of dealing with it. And I think for me it's more internal, and that it showed up in my stomach and head, like headaches and stuff. So those are symptoms or signs that our body sends us that says, hey, we got to get this figured out. So
right. So when you work with people, like I'm assuming you see a lot of chronic stress. How do you approach that? Because I do feel like a lot of people do push that to the side. Like, how do you, kind of walk people down the journey of, you need to eat better, or maybe go for a 15-minute walk or whatever? Like, what does that look like in your practice?
It's kind of gentle. It's starting where they are and seeing what people are ready to do too, but also just learning, like teaching and learning and saying this, and everybody has their own path and their own menu of things that might work for them. And so it's just about saying, have you heard about this, or have you tried this, or even too, if there's something that I don't know about, I can go find the information and then lead them in that direction. But I usually just gently start where they're ready to go, or what they're, working with, or how they're feeling, and kind of move in that direction. And I've had, I also share my own experience too, because I don't want them to feel like, it's only them. Like, they're not alone. There's all of us have a story, and their story is not wrong. It just is. And once we kind of can talk through that and say, okay, now what? Like, there's things out there that we can learn about that support them. And if they're ready to go with it, then we can go in that direction. And if not, that's okay too. We start small. And I just, sometimes even just having somebody to share their feelings with and to vent is a release and a start too. So I really just gently walk through wherever they're ready to go, but I also kind of share my own story so that they know they're not alone.
I remember when I was going through everything, that was one of the best things that a doctor, when we were like a year and a half in at that point, she looked at me finally and was like, this is not normal, but this is also like not rare, right? So like, you're not going to die over this. Right. You're not. And I remember that's always stuck with me, because she was the first person to kind of empathize with me in a way of like, we see all kinds of these patients here at Mayo. So this sucks. Like, this isn't fun, but you're also going to get through this. And that was always such a. I don't know why, of all the things in those offices that were said to me, I don't know why that's the one that stuck with me. But I think you just say it becomes a lonely journey. So
yes, right, and that's how my nurse practitioner was too. She was like, "Oh, did some testing. Oh, this makes perfect sense. It's a perfect storm for why this is. It's not your fault. But here's how we're going to tackle it, and here's what you can do." And then to have the final, or the testing a year later or 9 months later, just to see where we're at and have it look so much better. It was like, well, that's a relief. Now I got to keep it and maintain it. So, which I'm human. Everybody's human. You have your good days and some not so good days, but overall, trying to keep it in that direction of like progress,
I think the other thing that you talk about that I love, because I think people going into this kind of functional world and they're trying to get kind of their well-being back on track. I don't feel good. I have the brain fog. I have all the things going on. Is, that your awareness that, hey, this took 9 or 10 months for me to actually go through and clean up. Talk on that a little bit, like what it was like, because I do think a lot of people get, I started a supplement a month ago and I'm still, 10 pounds overweight. Like, I'm just going to quit. And it's like people don't realize that it takes your body time to change. So
Yes.
talk a little bit about that journey.
That's a hard part.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm here to support anybody going through that, because you feel it's hard. I mean,
So hard.
I don't want to say it's so hard but it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's parts of it that are challenging, like sticking with it. And I'm not going to say I was perfect, but keeping that, like I said, trend going over multiple months. I mean, at least the first round of antibiotics I had to do was like, I want to say like 2 months. So that, and then trying to recover from that even too, was a long process. But she was so helpful in just saying step by step, this will get better. She was positive in that way too, like stick with it. She was supportive, you'll get through this. And then so it was just the one thing too I remember was talking about how we have these, I know it sounds like too much, but bugs in our gut.
Yeah.
There's the good ones and then there's the not so good ones, but the not so good ones also have a role to play in there. What we want to do is feed and support the good ones. So in my mind, whenever I was like, I want to give up, I'm like, no, I want to feed my good, like they're in there trying to help. Like they do so many good things. So in a way, some of that was just like, nope, I gotta keep them going. Which helped me to keep going with the good eating, the healthy eating and drinking and stuff like that too. So it's not easy, and it's good to have somebody supportive to help you keep going in that and not give up, and know that you're gonna have good days and bad days, but as long as the good days outweigh the bad and the trajectory is still going up, you're going to have fluctuations along the way, but as long as the trend is still going up, that you're in a good spot. Mm-hmm.
Heidi, what would you say you learned, because being in the profession that you're in, not having gut health and, like you said, the gut-brain connection. So what did you learn from just, if your gut's not healthy, then it's hard for your mind or your brain to be healthy?
Yeah, well, I did just my own struggles with anxiety that summer, I think was a reflection of how troubled my gut was and how necessary it was for healing and for me to do the things that I needed to do. So then now I still go to my acupuncturist like once a month, because I feel like that is maintenance and it keeps me grounded. But I do other practices too to help myself stay grounded and to support that piece. I still have anxiety here and there, especially around like public speaking and starting a new job. All those
done all
things,
of the things that are stressful.
Right. Like, and I think I'm one that stuff I've always kind of been stressed around, is speaking in front of and performing and that kind of thing. When I was little, my mom she just told me the story about, and I remember it, being in church on a Sunday before the final weekend of a softball tournament, and me being so nervous about it that I had to leave church to go out the front. TMI, puke, because my nerves. So now I know I'm a nerves person, and it always lands in my gut. So just learning ways to support myself in that anxiety piece. I may not have anxiety every day like I did that summer, but I have to have things in place to help support myself for when I do feel stress. So, but yeah, and I remember I never used to be able to eat before softball tournaments either, which is not good. You need to be able to eat.
No.
So ironically, that's
so
how
it's all
Heidi
just like
know each other.
I know.
Okay.
We were all together when we were kids.
Oh, really?
We did.
Yes.
Yes.
Heidi and Heidi.
That's so funny.
And then she went to
realize
Valley
that's
and I
the
went to
one.
Valley, and so we competed against each other later in life.
Yes. But that did not prevent us from staying friends and being connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So.
You guys have been friends that long.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. So, yeah. But anyway, that's like things I've learned, that still, is that I have a tendency towards anxiety and nervousness. And so how do I support myself and help myself in times of stress? So, yeah.
You started as a school counselor. Is your audience or your patients primarily student aged kids, or who do you work with now?
I have actually a range. Probably the youngest I'll do is like a 10, because I do love kids, but I want a variety. So I have my youngest is probably 10, and then I do have some retirees that I really enjoy working with too. So
yeah, and both female
and I just
and male.
recently, yes, yep, and I just recently got on Medicare.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm expanding to some other insurances too, which I do all myself too. So it's time consuming with that, and sometimes it's not so easy, but I'm working on it. Yeah. So
the insurance topic again.
I know. I'm like, we're hitting all of the topics, like the insurance,
Yes, it is a process.
Reactions to everything.
The necessary evil.
Yes.
I know, it is.
Or not.
So I'm on
Some people might
Wellmark.
disagree.
Right, I don't know. Yeah, I'm on Wellmark, Medicare, and working on United Health, and I think that one's about done, so.
It is crazy what a process it is. I mean, you've been doing business for 8 years, and like you're just now getting. I know it didn't take 8 years to get that.
Right. Yeah. My first one was Wellmark, and I just kind of stopped there because I was like, it's too much. But then lately here, I'm like, gotta expand. So, and my clients need it. So, yeah.
Are you able to do virtual appointments, or do you have an office here in Des Moines somewhere? Okay.
Yep. I'm actually in my office right now. It's in the West Towers building over by Valley High School.
Oh, yeah.
Right here on the 3rd floor. And yes, I can do telehealth or so virtual appointments or in person. Yeah.
Do you think it makes a difference either way, like people coming in or doing telehealth for
great question.
appointments like that?
I think it's more about what's comfortable for the client.
Yeah.
I prefer, like with kids, I prefer to be in person just because but for the young adults, I have some college students who hop on from their dorm room or that kind of thing. So that's nice for them.
Yeah.
I've got some others. Do I have? Mostly it's college students but every now and again, I'll have a client who says, you know what, I'm not feeling the best, but can I get on from home and I just can't get out, or the weather's bad and we can hop on. So that's nice. Mm-hmm. I would never have done that before COVID. Yeah. If you'd have told me before COVID happened that I would have to do that, I would have been like, no. But it's a good thing.
And like then you can, if you find a doctor, because I do think like when you find somebody that you can relate to and talk to, and especially in your space, it's a very vulnerable space, and especially if they're being open, I think it's hard then if you move and all of a sudden it's, I can't talk to her, I can't, do something. Yeah. So I do like the virtual option for that you can really, stay in touch with that person. So,
but I would say I can see the benefit, Heidi, because having been in your studio, whatever your office, whatever you
my
call
office,
it, you have a lot of different modalities. I mean, you have a yoga mat, you have other things that can help people maybe get into the right frame of mind versus just sitting in a chair, right?
Yeah, we do that. I do like to incorporate yoga-based movement for relaxation. We do for other relaxation too, we can do that. And so for that, it is nice to be in person and do movement, help people with that. So and kids, they need movement a lot. So we do a lot of movement. And I have breathing balls and chimes and different things that they like to do too. So
what are breathing balls?
To practice breathing. Well, I've got my little.
What's this?
You've probably seen these at the fair.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a real nice visual for the belly, and kids love to use them. And then they'll take deep breaths with them. So like in and out, just kind of doing the belly breath with them, and they'll lead me with it. Once we do it, I'm like, okay, you're on. So they love to do that, and so we breathe with the breathing ball, and I have a chime that we ring for a little bit of focus and just centering, and that kind of thing too. And they enjoy doing that. So, and I have little, go ahead.
You brought pinwheels last year, which I loved. Tell us
I
about
did.
pinwheels.
Yes, we have pinwheels because that helps teach the long exhale, which is good for relaxation for the body and the brain. And so in the schools, I would always carry one around. And if a little one, my last 5 years was working with preschoolers, and I'd just pull it out, and they're like, "Oh my goodness!" And then we can practice just taking long, deep breaths and with the pinwheel. So. Yeah, I've got little props and little things in person that we have, which are easier to do than online and that kind of thing. But it all works, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Preschoolers. I can't imagine what that would be like.
I do yoga 3 schools in Des Moines. I do preschool yoga a couple times a month at each of the schools, and so I'll just go from one to the other a couple times during the month. So it's so much fun. And
do you feel like
I enjoy that.
Do it like they enjoy it? I mean, my daughter's in preschool, and I think she would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, they do. Occasionally you'll have one that just isn't feeling it. That's okay. Yeah. We don't force it. It's just if they're there and they can participate, but most of the time they do. And I've been doing it, I think, for long enough that I can tell when I've lost them. And it's like, okay, go back to, but we have routines in it, which is helpful. Kids do well with routines. And then so we'll start with the chime and the ball, and then we'll get into movement, standing, and then we'll get on the carpet and we'll do some movement there, and then a final relaxation. And then I have relaxation scripts that I read, and then they turn off the lights, and so
you might have to do that with the baseball players.
I'm going to figure out a way to get that incorporated. Yes, it might take a while, but we're going to get there. Yeah, for sure.
That'll be a win. And maybe they've already.
I know.
Who knows?
Maybe they have.
Cohort did it with them already.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we'll get there. We're gonna do that. Yeah. Yeah. So.
That's so fun. I'm like, you're giving me so many ideas. I try to take little nuggets of things that I can take back. I have a 5.5 and a 3.5-year-old. Oh yeah. And we almost every night we do a short meditation, and they like. Meditation. They ask for it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, but I think that's
something
life skills.
They do.
Definitely
something you can do too. I have a drawer full of tiny stuffed animals, and they can put the stuffed animal on their bellies while they're laying in bed or on their back, and just take some breaths and watch it's like buddy breathing. So they have a little buddy, put the stuffed animal on their belly, and just take deep breaths and watch the belly rise and fall gently before they go to bed.
I know. I'm like all of those
sometimes
little
we'll
things,
do that.
But, just help them kind of learn how to cope with. I think they're growing up in such a crazy. I mean, I think we've all grown up in a crazy world, but I think all the technology with them, it's going to be like, what mechanisms tools can we put in their toolbox to be able to chill out if they're overstimulated. My oldest one she's like me, she gets very overstimulated. So I try to kind of figure out, what are ways you can control control the chaos if it's getting to be too much.
Yes.
So, yeah. But
I love legs up the wall is another one, or legs up the couch or a chair. We do that in here too, and with kids and adults too if they want. Like, I do it at home. I have to.
Yeah. I know.
Especially when I feel myself stressed.
Yeah. Legs up the wall is supposed to be like one of the best like
That's
nervous
so great.
system things, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to like get your core back to normal.
Yeah, I'll do it before sleeping, or sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't get my brain to turn off, I'll turn over and I'll just do a little child's pose with my stacked fists on my forehead, because that helps a little bit, and breathe. Mm-hmm. Sometimes
Importance
that
of
helps me
breath.
get back to sleep.
Something else I'm learning when I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
I didn't do
Me
I
too.
didn't have Heidi back when I was a kid. Well, I did. But focus on breath work.
No. I mean, if I knew these skills back then, maybe I wouldn't have been so nervous playing softball, but that's okay.
So funny.
I
Well,
would have been
anything
able to
else
eat
in
before a game.
the last couple of minutes you want to share or chat about? You're doing
I'm trying to think.
Awesome. I'm like, I didn't even realize you were doing some of the things that you're doing, so I love all this.
You know, it's just, it actually really does go back to that health crisis thing. And I think learning so many strategies and learning, it just opened me up. I started reading about the joy of movement, and there's just so much out there that we can do for our bodies and our brains and our emotional system. That's another one I'm doing lately, is just putting my hand here and on my belly as a grounding technique when I just feel overwhelmed and like too much happening. So and I try to teach those and to my clients and say, you come up with your own you know, menu of things that support you, because you know, often what works for me may not work for them, but works for them. That's fine. Just helping them find their own center of or calm in the eye of the storm. And whatever that looks like for them is how they can cope with the things that are happening around us. And
One thing I'll say, Heidi, I can imagine you leading a meditation would be very calming, because you have a very soft voice. And, so I could see how that can be beneficial. Again, just listening to you and having been in some sessions and stuff with you, I can see how that's very impactful.
Yep.
Maybe
I've heard that from different people.
Once we get the community up and going, we're getting an online community, because our hope is kind of with these events, we're able to provide the ongoing resources and tools, but maybe you can do some meditations on some of our calls for the community. You'd be good at it. I agree with Heidi on this one. You're just so well spoken.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, we can do that. Yeah, that sounds great. Yes.
Well, good. Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit more about what you do. We'll put website, kind of socials, all of that for you, where people can find you in the show notes. But Heidi, you're doing some awesome things. So I love how you're incorporating all of the wellness stuff. It's not just all about sitting there and talking to a therapist. It's also, you know, what are the tools and things you can do beyond the session to be able to continue to live your best life. So thank you. And what I learned too from the Potential Within conference, I was just like, all of our stories are so similar but different, but just come to the same, like, I was just blown away, and I was like, I wish I would have known, you know, somebody else was going through stuff like that back when I was having mine. It's like, you know, we're not alone kind of thing. So, and that's where the community piece comes in for me. I mean, so much of my journey became a mental game after, you know, because I had very embarrassing symptoms going on, and it's like, how do you don't walk in your office the next day and be like, well, you know, I just had a bad night last night, you know, or whatever, and I just I wish, you know, I'm hoping that our community that we do beyond the events will be able to continue to support people with their vulnerable stuff going on. So we all have stories and journeys. So we do. You being part of the group. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Thanks for everybody joining us on this Within, and we'll see you next week.